What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is NCIS Season 14, Episode 11, Willoughby. And NCIS is back in with a very strong opening episode for the second half of this season. We've been talking about kind of in the background, why is Clayton Reeves here? Why is he at NCIS? What is he doing there? What is this little secret mission going on? And honestly, I was hoping that was going to get a bit more focus just because I think this season has been lacking that overarching storyline that we're trying to focus on. It's just been this episode and then this episode and then this episode. And there's been no real connectivity between it. So it was nice to see we finally get to see this is the mission he's on. Mission Willoughby. He's got to go take down this guy named Chin. Apparently he's going to try to download all of his info. It's a suicide mission because as soon as he starts downloading, the guy will know he's downloading. But everything goes wrong, of course, because we can't have a mission go clean anymore. But yeah, everything goes wrong. The episode starts off with literally and figuratively a bang. The plane that Clayton's on, we see Chin's right-hand man leaving quickly and getting in a car and driving away, and all of a sudden, plane blows up. And so at first I'm just like, there's no way he's actually dead. And he's not. He ends up in the hospital. Apparently he noticed something was wrong just in time, got himself and the pilot out of there. And so from there it's kind of a question of, okay, so clearly there's a mole, but who is it? And honestly, it felt like it was going sort of back and forth for me. They didn't really actually play with the idea of there's a mole until later on in the episode, which I thought was kind of surprising. Like, something goes wrong, there's probably a mole. But I don't know, I guess all the past seasons there haven't been enough moles to convince them that that's the first thing they should think of. So it took them a while to get there. But at first I was wondering if they were going to try to throw in that Clayton was actually turned and he was actually part of the enemy. They could have done it, but at the same time I thought it would have been way too obvious. The other one that I thought they might have tried to throw in is that Ellie's boyfriend, Kazim, he might be the turncoat, and he was actually like, all of the secret stuff he was working on, he's actually working with them. I don't know, it didn't seem very likely because he doesn't seem connected with, it didn't seem like what he was doing was connected with what they were doing, but at the same time it ended up being connected just in a way I didn't expect. So, I don't know, I was just thinking, what if they're involved? But then I was thinking, no, that's way too obvious. It's probably going to be somebody we don't really expect, but not somebody we know very well. And that ended up being it. One of the ladies that they were talking to, apparently she was part of the whole planning process for trying to take this guy down. Apparently she got threatened, her family got threatened, so she decided to help him out, filled him in on everything going on. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Up until this one scene where Ellie and her boyfriend are in a library and he's trying to think because he's trying to figure out this last solution to his problem. And so I'm just like, oh, this is a sweet scene. I'm not gonna lie, relationships are not normally a big thing for me, but based on what's happened to Ellie in the past couple seasons, her husband cheating on her, and then she tries to, she divorces him, but then he's still causing her trouble, and she finally got a guy in her life. I'm like, I'm glad that she's doing okay. I'm glad she has a guy to turn to. And then gunshots ring out. He's shot, and I'm just like, why? Why, Ellie? Why? And from a story standpoint, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. From a critical standpoint. Because as a fan of the show, I can tell you I was freaking out. I'm just like, this sucks. Ellie needs something good to go right in her life. This sucks. But from a critical standpoint, it almost kind of doesn't even make any sense. Just because it feels like he was here for one episode. He got introduced in the one episode where Ellie was talking to her brothers about apparently she's dating somebody. That was when he got introduced. And I don't think we saw him again until this episode. So it almost doesn't even feel necessary. It feels like you just brought him in just to kill him off, not even effectively. Obviously it still breaks her heart because this is a guy she was starting to really get into, starting to really find true romance in, and killed before that even got a chance to happen. But from an audience standpoint, we didn't get to make that same connection. If he was here for about half of the season, if he was introduced in the first episode of this season and they started dating and now second half of the season started, he's dead, that would have been a bit more emotional. That would have actually affected the audience a bit more. But based on how you presented him, he's here. There are 2 episodes where I think one of them he was talked about in, but he never showed up in those, and he shows up for this one and then is dead. I don't know if that's effective for us. Obviously I know what they're going for with Ellie's story. I know that they're trying to give her a more personal reason to go after the bad guy this season. But I still think they should have done it a bit more effectively. I think they should have introduced Kasim earlier into the season, given us a bit more time spent with him, so that way we feel it too. That way we make the connection. Because now I'm not really connected to him. I'm just like, oh yeah, I see it all going. I see the moves being made. I see it's like watching 2 people play chess. I'd rather be playing chess. I'd rather be in there too, moving the pieces around. But instead I feel like I'm just watching from the outside and everything's going on. I'm not really connected into the story. It's a little disappointing. But I'm not going to say that means it was a bad episode. I don't think it... I think it was a pretty good way to start off the season. You've got explosions, you've got people dying, you've got one of the henchmen of the main bad guy being so scared that he'd rather shoot himself in the head than be taken in. I mean, it kind of does set up really well for the second half of the season. I just wish that one scene would have been more emotional, because I think that would have made it a great episode. As it is, it's just a good episode. So, yeah, I know it's funny because these NCIS reviews are probably my shortest reviews, mainly because it's 14 seasons in. It's really hard to talk about a lot of the story, mainly because, I don't know, it feels like there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, even the humor in this one is mainly focused on Torres and Quinn and their stuff, and it was kind of awkward to me. Like, I don't know, Quinn has been funnier in other situations. I thought Torres has been one of the funniest characters this season, like breakout characters of this season, and the humor that he was presenting in this episode just didn't seem like it fit him. It seemed like he was just kind of being obnoxious, but also kind of being flirty with Quinn. I'm just like, what is this? This isn't the Torres I know. The Torres I know would be a lot more smooth and suave with his jokes. This one seemed like he was just being like that annoying kid, like, we can make out in the car. Just, what is this? So, I don't know, that side of it wasn't really interesting. I kind of zoned out for those moments. And then the rest of it was good, and then that last moment could have been better, but was still interesting enough to where I know what's going to happen next. I know how the characters are going to go from here, so it does set up for an interesting second half of the season, so I hope they take full advantage of it. So those are my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future NCIS reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.